This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is February the 26th, Monday, 2024. So glad you could join us. Coming up a little later in the program, we'll run down a couple news headlines, but first, let's kick things off with a check of the markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to talk with Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. And Tyler, earlier things looked pretty decent. Did it hang on for the rest of the day?
Well, we actually did. Started the overnight, went down, punched in some new lows on the move here. Put in a low of 394.5 on March corn, which kind of shocked some people when they woke up this morning. And about midday, we had kind of a move back up higher. Beans kind of struggled as well, but they also saw a move higher as we closed out the day. And so there was some talk, the corn move. There's some talk China's in the market trying to buy some Ukrainian corn. There's increased concern over dryness that's starting to develop in Brazil and the effect that's going to have on their safrinha corn crop. And then, the story everybody's been talking about, you got managed money that's record short now in corn. So, a lot of stuff at play and could trigger some fireworks as we move forward.
As we haven't talked about the Ukrainian export corridor for a while, and obviously tension's still high over there. The war's still going on now into its fourth year. Tyler, or third or fourth year, Tyler. For China to want to go to Ukraine over us to get corn in an area that's so destabilized. I mean, what message does that send to the American trade?
Well, one, it says they're cheaper, and China's always a value buyer. They're going to go where they can get it bought as cheaply as possible. I think the fact that they're just in the market buying corn, they've not bought corn really from anyone for quite some time. We haven't seen them step into the U.S. to buy corn. So that's a positive signal to the market. The take your pick, whether it's Brazil, Argentina, Russia, Europe, Ukraine. It seems like all of their grain has just been on fire sale here, and that's the reminder that that's the market doing its job. High prices will increase supply and also temper demand a little bit, and we've seen demand drop off, and then we've seen supply all over the world increase, and it usually takes us, it hits us in the face. And sometimes we don't think that it's going to happen, but it just takes a little bit of time for that increase in supply and that drop in demand to come into the marketplace and reflect itself in the price. And that's really what we're seeing. Like I said, I'll go back to the fact that China's actually out buying corn, even if it's from Ukraine. That's a good story for us to have. You're right, the war is kind of increasing a little bit. We're seeing some more tensions, but I don't know that you're going to see the fireworks out of that we did 2 years ago with, there's a lot less uncertainty right now than there was 2 years ago.
All right. So switching gears to the livestock side of the marketplace there, Tyler, what did we see in those cattle and hog markets?
Cattle were down heavy early today. There was a cattle on feed report that in reality was friendly to the cattle markets. Kind of told us the same story that been talking about for quite some time. We had placements really low. Just they weren't as low as what a lot of analysts were expecting, and I think the analysts were expecting the cold weather, the muddy pin situation to have maybe slowed placements down in January. They were looking at like 88% or a 12% reduction in placements from last year. And remember, last year's January placements were also really low. Those ended up coming in at like 93%, so 7% lower than a year ago. So still telling the same story. Placements are behind last year, which was behind the year before. So I mean, it's solidifying the story that cattle available to go to feedlots is, just it's getting smaller by the day. But the negative reaction early was just because some of that was priced in, thinking that it was going to be a really really friendly cattle on feed report. Wasn't quite as friendly. Feeders got blasted down about $3. Fat cattle were down about $1. As the day wore on, we kind of clawed most of that back. We're actually going to close positive on fat cattle. Feeders are going to be in that $1.50 to $1 down. Hogs, have seen some explosive moves over the last few weeks. The commitment of traders report that dropped on Friday showed the funds have gone massively long hogs in just a short couple weeks. Been a lot of buying by the funds and pushing that hog contract higher. And April hogs closed down 92 cents, but it's at a level where it's trying to decide if it wants to go shooting higher or if maybe some of the gas is going to exit the market here.
All right. Well, Tyler, if folks out there want to pick your minds at agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Check us out on the website, agmarket.net. You can look up, see if there's any brokers in your area. And if you're down at Commodity Classic, check us out there.
All right, Tyler. Well, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
You bet.
And that again was Tyler Schau of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, March corn up 7 1/4 at $4.07 even. Soybeans up 3 cents at $11.36 even. Soy meal up $2.90 at $3.34.40. Soy oil up 38 cents at $44.40. Chicago wheat up 3 3/4 at $5.77 1/4. Kansas wheat up 15 cents at $5.83 3/4. Minneapolis wheat up 6 3/4 at $6.48 1/4. Oats up 10 1/2 at $3.75 even. Live cattle for April up 20 cents at $188.10. Feeders down $1.52 at $253.05. Lean hogs down 92 cents at $86.27. Pork cutouts up 7 cents at $93.30. Class 3 milk was up 24 cents. That was at $17.55. And that's been our Ag Market Recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the news headlines. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Taking a look at a couple of the top stories we're following right now, the Agribusiness Association of Iowa Foundation is pleased to announce that the building they're housed in is going to be named after their late CEO, Bill Northey, and will simply be called the Northey Building. In a press release today, the AAI Foundation board chair said Bill was a giant in agriculture, and while he'd first want to be known as a farmer and conservationist, he was actively involved in many facets of public service to agriculture. He was a conservation district commissioner, secretary of agriculture for Iowa, and the nation's first undersecretary for farm production and USDA, and also was the CEO of the AAI organization. And the list is not close to being inclusive for all of his other activities and achievements. Also, AAI announced today that the Northey Memorial Fund has been established at the Agribusiness Association of Iowa's foundation. The USDA announced today that Deputy Secretary Xochitl Torres-Small is leading the USDA's first agribusiness trade delegation to Angola. This week, she'll also be accompanied by representatives from the Kansas and Wisconsin Departments of Agriculture, as well as 16 U.S. companies and organizations. Members of the delegation will conduct business-to-business meetings with potential buyers from Angola, as well as the neighboring Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of the Congo. They will receive briefings from USDA Foreign Ag Services staff, in-depth marketing information, and as well as hearing from industry trade experts, gaining insights into their export strategies for sub-Saharan Africa. And that is a few of our top stories we are following today at the network. And that's going to bring us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and on our YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time we put out a new video project. Also, don't forget about our free market podcasts available through Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Riley Smith, I thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.